Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler.
And this is KC.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
So last week we started with Lyle's I Am the Night. That was the music. And we just figured out that he and I are very alike because I have a song called The Night that we use oftentimes.
That's right.
For the intro.
Yeah, man, nothing like some good indie musicians, man.
Yeah, just weirdos.
Yeah, all right, guys, right off the bat.
Yep.
This is a crazy, crazy world. This is not going to be a political podcast. We're not going to do that. Even outside of politics, we're just not going to contribute to that too much because there's so much going on. There's plenty of news outlets if you need that kind of stuff. We will say that if you follow our platform much, you know our hearts, you know that there's no room for hate in anyone's heart who's a believer of Jesus. And that's all you need to know, right?
Well said.
Thanks, man.
Very concise.
That's what I try. That's what I try for.
I love concision. Anyway, you know what? I had a nightmare the other night. This was one of the last nights that I was actually in my shop. And it was weird, man. I dreamed that the Element was bought out by Meat Eater.
How much?
I don't remember. I know that would have been. It wouldn't have been a nightmare if it was
Steve, if you're listening,
$2 million.
There is a dollar amount. Okay.
Okay. So I had this nightmare, and like in the nightmare, we couldn't. We had to wear First Light, obviously.
Oh.
And which I have First Light stuff, and I'm sure it's quality stuff. The stuff that I have is I like it a lot. It's just merino, or whatever. But it's super soft, and it was I bought it in 2016, and it was never, like an itchy merino. So in other words, even back then, it wasn't itchy merino. You know what I mean? So, but what my point is that like. They took away all our rights to be able to like wear my Realtree boogeyman suit, and like anything at all. Like how I like my hats, and you do too. And like I want to be able to wear the hat that looks good on my head because my head's real big, and if it doesn't look good on my head, then my head could look very, very big. Did you ever play GoldenEye 007?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you ever play big head mode? Mm-mm. You never did?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Because you could head shoot so easy when you played big head mode, I
had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I feel like most of the time walking around.
Oh my.
But yeah, so it was I don't know why, but I woke up like breathing hard because I was like, all of a sudden we have no freedom to do anything that's like real anymore. We're having to be controlled 100%, Mm-hmm. So it was a weird deal, but I'm glad I woke up from that dream.
Good.
It was one of those ones that was so real, it took me a second to snap out of it and realize real life.
Now we're in reality where we can do whatever we want to.
Yeah, and we make nobody paid us. We got no money. We got no money. So I just wanted to make an announcement to our listener base here, since they're captured. KC has turned into a figure.
That's right. I am growing figs.
Yeah.
All over the place.
And but a figure is somebody who is a pretty good hobbyist in regards to figgery,
You
right?
could call me that. And I just saw a red-headed woodpecker out there.
That's cool.
They're pretty birds. Anyways, yeah. So, like you have orchardists who kind of are into all kinds of fruit trees. At the moment, I am a figger, but I will probably become an orchardist. But figs are kind of real easy to deal with, and since we don't have an official property that we live on yet, it's kind of hard to do the orchard thing. But yeah, also figs are super hardy and super easy to propagate. So, like, they're pretty low maintenance.
Do you have any figs growing yet?
Yeah.
You do?
I got some Celeste that are going to produce this year pretty good.
I don't know if mine's going to produce this year.
Yeah. We need
But there's one right up here right up the road
Really?
that's got a ton on it.
Whose place is it?
You know where you turn into where my dad's developed that
Kinda.
addition right there?
Yeah.
It's like right here.
Yeah.
Like when you turn and start to head left, you'll see a fig tree on your right, and it is loaded, dude.
What color are they?
They're kind of purplish. I'm sure it's
Really?
yeah. But they're-
Interesting.
They're
Wonder if it's
greenish purplish.
Wonder if it's a Breba crop.
Zareba?
Breba, yeah, kind of like your nickname for your kid. It's weird. Breba is like the crop of figs that produces off of last year's growth. It's the first crop, and then you have a true crop, which is later in the like late summer, early fall, and that's where the sweeter but smaller figs are. Usually, Breba is bigger but not quite as good.
Well, that fig tree's been there a while. Like
Yeah.
it's big.
That's
around.
what I want one of those so bad, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plant as many figs in the ground as I can and just
Yeah.
do it that way because a lot of guys do container figs, and I can see why because you can really control your environments that way. You don't lose any to frost or anything. But man, if you can get an established fig in the ground, you're talking thousands of figs a year, as opposed to like 20
Yeah.
per tree. So it'd be legit.
We can make so many fig Newtons.
Oh man, I cannot wait to just make a meal of figs. They smell good too, man.
Yeah?
Like the fig tree smells good. It reminds me of a little bit like juicy fruit gum. A little bit. It's kind of the smell, somewhat, but maybe not quite as fruity, but kind of that sweet fruit-ish smell.
Man, I'm ready for mine to do something.
Yeah, we need to. Well, there's a lot of pruning that needs to be done on a lot of trees, but all those fig trees that you buy, like from the orchard, actually need to be pruned off, and so they can regrow new stuff and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of learned that since I planted mine. I'm learning new stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people this time of year are trying to learn stuff about whitetails and get ready for hunting season. I'm just trying to learn about trees, man.
Well, so that kind of like brings me to think about our guest of the day, which is Chancy Walters. And a lot of people will know him from the Whitetail Adrenaline stuff.
He's the guy with the cool voice.
Yeah. You know what? The whole time we were talking to him, I was thinking, this sounds just like my buddy Wes Lowry.
Yeah.
And they said the same thing in the podcast.
They did, rutting around, man. It's funny.
They have a very similar like dialect, man. Like,
Yeah.
And even their voice kind of sounds similar, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're from, like, okay, first of all, Chancy's from, or lives in Iowa. I wonder if he's from further south because he doesn't have that Midwest accent too much.
He didn't have a whole lot of ools in there.
No, not so much.
No. Yeah. So anyway, Chancy's, if you know him from the Whitetail Adrenaline stuff, Chancy is actually just a all-around outdoorsman. Cool dude, easy to talk to, man. Just fun guy to be around, it seems like. But yeah, knows fishing very well. So kind of fits right into what you and I like to do, just hobbyists.
Oh,
man.
yeah. That's what we're going to talk about is a lot of just the fun stuff in life.
Yeah. And so, like, when you watch Whitetail Adrenaline, you see them hunting public ground a lot, or only, you know. So, and they kind of have a specific style that's very difficult to probably achieve success in, but they do it. They create success for themselves by doing it, and they're known for that. But, you know, one thing I've noticed lately is, and this just, it makes me wonder, like, what are dudes thinking? But dudes are leaving, like, phenomenal public land or private land to hunt public land right now. A lot.
It's the cool thing, Tyler.
Man, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you do that?
No. Well, I mean, no. I mean, I haven't really. I still hunt, like, what you're referring to is Kansas, and I've hunted there. I killed a deer there, not this year, but last year.
Yeah. In fact, we strive to have more private land.
Yeah,
there.
well, the baddest piece of property we were on this year, pretty much, in regards to just number of shooter bucks, was a piece of private that we secured.
You know what makes deer cool?
That they don't care.
That they're deer. Not that they're on public
Yes,
or that they're private.
exactly.
It's that they're deer, man.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them cool. Now, it is cool to go out and hunt public land. And if you like that challenge, then that's fine. I'm going to let you know something. In Texas, that challenge is... It's a challenge.
Yeah.
There's a reason Tyler and I have purchased a couple small properties, or one each, that we're going to homestead and probably spend some time in a tree stand on our own private land, because it's a controlled environment, and it'd be nice to be able to, like, not have a guaranteed deal, but, you know, have something you can manage a little bit more. We're never going to not hunt public land in Texas. It's what we do. It's fun. I love it, but also it can make you want to just jump head first out of a tree stand.
Dude, I mean, that's the thing. It's weird because you just said one sentence and it was like so contradictory, but it's the complete truth. Like, there are days we go out there and, like, you know, wherever it might be, but, like, I can think of a couple of places we go, and for instance, where, like, you know, we're going to be out there all day, if not a couple days, and, like, when we're out there, it's just all we do is think about hunting, and then there's lunch, and then we're thinking about hunting. You know what I mean? And
lunch is good.
It is, man, and it's a good time. You know, like, it's just a good welcome break. You know, because a lot of times what you do is you go out in the morning, you see 0 deer, and I don't know. It's so. Like, so what normally happens is if you go out and see nothing, or you have a rough hunt in the morning, you go to lunch, you kind of pick your spirits up, and you go, you know what? Let's make a game plan for this afternoon. Okay, I like it. Yep, good win for that. Let's go in there, let's bomb in there, hang some stands, and do this thing. And then you sit that afternoon, and it gets dark, and you see one doe somewhere, like, you know, spooked. 75 yards off, and it's like, man, this is really not, like, worth my time. Almost, you just get to that point, like, you know, you try to keep positive, and then you have an entire day where you see, like, 1 deer or 3 deer or whatever, and they're all dinks, you know, and nothing's legal, and it's like, man, this is tough. So it's crazy how much fun it can be. At the same time, overall, like, you go out for day trips or something like that, and you're gonna most day trips you're gonna come back going, should we go do that again? And then, like, a week later, you go do it again. But, you know, like, it takes you a week to get back out there or whatever.
Okay, we got to talk about this.
They are flinging catfish.
He just threw that. He's just.
Are they stalking?
No, that was on a stringer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just threw, like, 3 giant catfish out of the boat.
We're watching them right now. So
what are those? What is that thing on the front of the boat?
Hoses.
He tossed like a 60-pounder out the other side of the boat right
there.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Are they, like, letting it get back in that hole or something?
No, I think they're on stringers. I think they put them in there to.
What are they going to do with them?
Eat them, I guess. They had, like, a little one in there, and then it was like a 30-pounder up this side of the boat.
Yeah.
That one was a giant. What are you doing, boys? Maybe those catfish call the other one and tell them that.
Maybe. That's probably what they do.
Yeah.
So anyway, some guys are down. We're sitting here in my dad's fishing lodge, and there's some guys that have just pulled up and are about to do the flathead thing. They're gonna noodle, which they pulled out like a 60+ pounder the other day, they said, and
now
my
your
dad got
son's
video
standing
of
out
it.
here like a boss. Like, what are you
He's
boys
like,
doing?
Y'all get off my property. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna see what they pull out here in a second, but yeah, it's just kind of baffling to me. Like, why wouldn't you want to shoot a 190? Like, you know, when you got the opportunity to chase that deer or whatever, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to go hunt these 160s on public that are very difficult, and I have other people messing me up every other morning.
Or 120s.
Yeah, for us, yeah. I mean, it's
or I mean, even like, what was the comparison from the private and the public that we hunted in Iowa this year?
Oh yeah, I mean,
the difference in we were on a 150 consistently on private, and on public. When I hunted public with you, we didn't see a deer.
Yeah, we did have that one morning that, like, a 2-year-old basket dinker came in, and then I had back-to-back mornings when I went up there of like 115, 120 class 8 points coming through. And that was it. You know, like, and I know big deer live there, man, but like, yeah, it was, oh, look at that. Is that the one on the stringer?
They threw it. No, he's fixing to pill up the big one on the other side. One of them's little and one of them's giant.
I guess they searched that hole and didn't find anything.
I guess so.
Yeah.
They got a sweet motor.
Man, where are they? I wonder where they're picking all them things up, man. Are they doing that like every week?
I don't know.
It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, it's just kind of a weird deal to me for people that are doing that. Did they get one?
No, he's fixing to pull that big one in there. Oh, that's a giant.
That is a toad.
That's a 60-pound fish.
Anyway, I think it's a good time for us to get Chancy on the phone and talk about fishing, which we're watching right now, and hunting, and everything good, man. All right, so now on the phone we've got deer hunter, wildlife artist, and catcher of the rare inland grouper, Chancy Walters. What's happening, man?
Hey, good, man. Glad to be here. And you know, I'm doing great. I've been painting all day, trying to get caught up on orders, trying to get caught up so I can focus on fishing this summer.
Yeah? What kind of orders?
I don't think I'll ever get caught. Feather paintings. These feather paintings just keep me busy. That's what keeps the ball rolling, pays for my wild, rowdy life I live.
Dude, that's cool, man.
Pays the bills.
I've seen some of your feather paintings. They're really, really neat, man. But I didn't know that you did you just had like stacks of orders on them things, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I get an order to 2 a day. I mean, it's full time, man. It's crazy. I need 2 or 3 of me. I know. I say it every time. I have too many hobbies, and like right now, I want to go fishing, but I got to
go on a date instead.
Yeah, well, I am going to go on a date in a little bit, but I'm just doing a ton of trying to get caught up in paint, because this time of year, like especially, I should have been painting a lot more than I have been with this COVID stuff going on, and I just didn't take advantage of it. So now I'm last minute again trying to get caught up.
Yeah. How are you getting all those feathers?
You know what? I can only shoot a couple turkeys a year, boys. I ain't out there running wild. Don't be fooled. But you know what? Think about this though. I mean, I got tons of people that shoot turkeys. They don't, they save a couple of the fans for their decoys and all that, but they save them and they don't have any. And they pretty much don't know what to do with them all. They throw them in the freezer. We've all done it, and they're just sitting in there, and they give them to me. So I got a lot of buddies that travel and kill tons of turkeys, and they save all the feathers for me. So I always pretty much have an unlimited stock. So it works perfect.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. Man, they're pretty sweet. So how'd you get into the art stuff? Wasn't your dad an artist?
Yeah, my dad was an artist, but he wasn't a wildlife artist. He was a sign painter, motorcycle painter, custom pinstriping, signs. Before sticker and vinyl came out, race cars. My dad did all that stuff by hand, and I just got the talent genetically from him. I mean, it wasn't like, I say this a lot. If somebody can sing, they can sing. They can't really learn how to sing, and it's the same with artwork. I mean, you can get better, or you can do abstract stuff, but like just painting, I just got lucky and got the talent to do it. And I've been doing it ever since I was a little kid, and it's been my job. I made it into a career and pays the bills.
Have you ever submitted a painting for any of the stamps?
You know what? The first time I put one in, well, my art teacher, she had all the art kids. Maybe you guys probably did that too in your art class when you were younger. I was going to do the junior duck stamp. Well, she had the entry form from the year before and thought the deadline date was the same. Sent it in, and I was late, so they couldn't accept my deal. But they said that I was in contention to win if they would have kept, if I would have been 100% followed the rules. So that was a bummer. It was a couple green-winged teal. And I looked at it. I had it planned out. I was like, you know what? There hasn't been a green-winged teal for a long time.
Yeah.
And I did one. So I had it planned out. It didn't work out, though.
Dude, you can't do a mallard, right? Because everybody's going to submit a mallard, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on. You got to to think about it a little bit. But yeah, I'll do one of them things. I'll try to win that sucker one of these days and dedicate myself to doing it. It'd be kind of fun just to, have my name on the list of the stamps,
Oh, heck yeah, cool. Dude. That would be so awesome. Man, I actually, I try to save my stamps every year. My dad does the same thing. And I don't know, there may have been a year or two where I didn't get a stamp when I was real busy in college or something like that, but man, I try to keep those things and keep up with them. Cause I don't know. I have an appreciation for art. I used to draw a ton and I loved it when I was real young as well. And then just, your parents turn you into a jock and you forget how to draw. So, so
that's all right.
That's what happened.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
Unless it's, quarantine, then being a jock is not going well for those guys right now,
Yeah.
So, okay. So you're known for, like a lot of people at least know you for kind of this guy that kills big public land bucks from the ground, with Whitetail Adrenaline. But I mean, dude, it's fishing season right now, right? That's what all you're thinking about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I love to hunt, but fishing's my deal. I mean, that's what I love to do. And I'm ready for tournament season. We finally got this letting it up at the tournament. I mean, you can have a fishing tournament. What are you going to do? Get COVID from a bass? I mean, that's the stupidest stuff I've ever heard. So I think everybody just keeps their distance at the weigh-ins. One person go up and weigh at a time. I mean, they can have them. So I'm pretty excited. I'm fishing the Bassmaster Opens.
Oh, cool.
And
Sweet.
they had to push a lot of the stuff back. So my first tournament's on the Arkansas River out of Muskogee, Oklahoma. So I'm excited to
you'll be like a couple hours from us, man, at that point. We
really?
We're actually,
we might have to make a point to meet,
dude, for sure. We're actually sitting at my parents' fishing lodge. They've owned this thing for almost 30 years on Lake Fork. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I've always wanted to fish it. I've never fished it yet, and I will make a point to bring my bass boat down there, and you boys show me the hot spots.
Dude, I know a few of them, but I can tell you this, man. It's probably about as tough a lake as you could ever fish. They have seen a lot of baits here, so.
But it's one of those things where, like, Tyler and I talk about this all the time because we grew up fishing the lake. Like, you might go all day without a bite, but that one tug, I mean, you just never know.
Oh,
it's like it could be the double-digit fish.
Like if you were fishing, just for lack of a better city, Minneapolis or something like that right now, you might hook up and you're like, man, it might be a 4-pounder. And down here, you're like, this might be the fish of a lifetime. This could be a state record.
Your dad lost like an 11 the other day, right? And he guessed it at 11.
He said,
wow.
My dad has caught a few big ones and lost a few as well. And he actually has lost 2 fish that he said earlier this spring he lost one that he thought was about a 9, and then just like last week he lost one. He was like when the guy in his boat asked him, his friend, what happened and how big the fish was, he was like, I don't think I can tell you because you're just not going to believe this. This is like, he said he thought it was 11 or 12 pounds.
He's not an infatuator by any means either. This dude is straight laced. So when he says 11, I believe it.
What a nightmare.
Oh, dude,
what
I know.
A nightmare. I'd suck to lose a big one like that. Actually, you know what? That did happen to me down on Falcon Lake. The first time ever down there. I was with a buddy of mine that knows that lake really well. Just met him actually for the first time there, but we actually went out there and I flipped up there. It was probably middle of the day, and I hooked a giant. He come up about, I don't know, maybe 5 foot from the boat and shook one time, and he threw my 10-inch. I have sort of 10-inch worm.
Ooh, dude, I will go to my knees quick. I get so sad.
It was for sure 9 to 11 pounds. I mean, it was a giant.
Sure,
what you dream of. So
jeez.
I'll get back down there and catch one of the big spooks one of these times.
Man, I've dreamed about going down there and fishing that Rio Grande stuff. Falcon, of course, has like a huge reputation. And then I remember watching Paul Elias break like the 4-day record or something like that on jelly worms and DD22s. On Amstad. Yeah. Oh my gosh, man!
You know what's crazy? I got a few packs of them jelly worms as a Yeah, what are you, a collector's item?
Yeah, they're a novelty. You got to have a 14-inch worm in your bag. I mean, duh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jeez, crazy.
I've got a pack of watermelon red ones. I've never thrown one, but one of these days, I'm going to put that thing on like a 12-foot Carolina rig, and I'm just going to float it.
That's right.
All day.
Come into play.
Right now is where that Paul Elias kneeling and reeling tactic comes into work here in Texas, at least. Here on Lake Fork, we're seeing the post spawn and all the fish are moving off on the big humps and stuff, and it's
Nice.
throw a DD22, and you might just depend. It's so weird, man. Like it depends on the time of day. Sometimes they say the hotter the better a lot of times, which I caught. The second biggest fish I've ever caught here was, I can point to it. You can't see it, but KC can see it right out here. And it was a 25-inch fish in the post spawn, and I caught it on about a 14 to 15-foot hump on a Carolina rig. But, man, like they'll school out there, and you'll catch like – sometimes you can run a DD22 through there like a few times, and you may even get like a short strike or something like that, but you'll really amp the fish up, and then you throw a Carolina rig down there and just smoke them, man.
Exactly.
It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun.
There ain't nothing better than post spawn bass. I mean, I've won some nice tournaments on post spawn, man. That's my favorite time of year to fish. I mean, I like spring and all that, but I don't like getting lucky. I like to go try to find a little school fish, get out there and get dialed in.
So how many tournaments do you fish in a year normally?
The last couple of years have been quite a bit. I mean, I'm going to say 15, 20.
Yeah. Is this
year? This year, I'm just fishing bigger stuff, man. I mean, if I have a little opening and I get a little wild hair and I'm on something, I'll go fish. I'm going to start fishing. I'll fish some local stuff,
Sure.
but it's getting burnt out, man. If somebody sees me out on a spot, they're there sitting out there full strut on it the next time, and it's not even a community hole. It's just that's just how it is, man. I mean, it's just people are just they can't go out and figure their own stuff out.
Right,
and just drive me nuts.
We've got our guy that works on our bows actually fished the Classic twice. He was a guide here on Fork for like, he still guides a little bit, but he guided. He's been around since Fork opened pretty much. But yeah, super, super good fisherman. He's caught,
that's awesome.
He's caught 4 fish over 13 on Lake Fork. So he's done it, man.
I've seen the plaques on the wall too. It's a real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's
anyway.
Unbelievable.
What's different?
That's the goal. Try to make a classic.
Dude.
My first goal is obviously to try. It might take me a year or two to try to qualify for the Elite Series. That's my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck, dude. That's going to be awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
One thing that like KC and I haven't done a ton of is the smallmouth fishing stuff, because closest smallmouth to us pretty much is going to be like Texoma, which is a couple hours. And so it's not something that like we've grown up doing a ton of, but like I'm interested in like how the tactics differ. And I know that you catch a bunch of them. That's what I was mentioning with the inland grouper earlier, but they like, so are you using like finesse tactics a lot on those fish, or is it something? Yeah.
I'll tell you, I mean, I love catching that big smallmouth. It was kind of a dream of mine, but I've been going up there north for about 5 years, blacks and different spots. But man, we have a good time. I like catching them on a Ned rig or a drop shot, and we like to throw. Actually, this year I threw that hair jig. Oh my gosh, the fighter fly. Yeah. And actually, Seth came up and did some fishing with me. He knows that lake better than anybody. He come up and whacked on them with me for the day, and that was a pretty good time for sure. He's a cool dude for sure, and he knows his stuff, man. That guy is a smallmouth's nightmare, man. That guy he just knows. Yeah. I didn't ever ask no questions when I was fishing with him. Like I could watch, and I seen different things that he was doing. I mean, I can pick up on stuff, man. That guy he is so dialed in on that type of stuff, and I just sat back and kind of just watch and learn. I learned a lot in that full day of fishing with him. Mm-hmm.
So, are you guys like? How often are you using the graph to basically sea fish that are going to be biting.
Oh man, I'm telling you right now, if they ain't spawning, I grew up fishing shallow, and to win shallow, it's obviously there's a few guys that just are really consistent, like John Cox and stuff like that. But I am an offshore guy, man. If I can I know how to find different spots kind of off the grid. And that's what I like. That's how I like to fish. But if I can't find nothing, I got to go to shallow. But my strong point is if they're set up somewhere, and graphing, I've really learned to use my graphs really well and stuff like that. And my partner really got me dialed in. Rick Fishback with crank wraps. He really got me dialed in and taught me a couple little things, and then I built off of it. And I feel pretty confident.
Dude, those crank wraps are pretty neat, man.
I'm glad you like them, man. I'll get you guys some.
Dude, I would love to. I'm a big, I love, I'm more of I guess you'd call it match the hatch kind of guy. Like I like when a bait looks very realistic in color and everything, as opposed to, I've caught bass here on pink trick worms and stuff, bubble gum and all that. But that's when you don't have anything in the boat that looks like a actual fish, so. But
it gives you a couple extra bites. It does. I'm telling you, how many times have you been out there and I don't know if you guys fish tournaments and stuff growing up?
Very few, man. We have a tournament every weekend here on Fork, so.
Yeah. But if you just think about it, you're out there. So how many times, guys just need one more fish, and maybe that was just what you needed. Every fish counts. Like I fished the tournament last weekend, and I knew it was going to be a tough tournament. I figured it'd probably take 15, 16 to win it, which is usually takes 20 on this certain lake, and we got a lot of mud and stuff, and I'm telling you, it was so muddy that the color didn't really matter. You wanted to use something. Really, I like to throw black, obviously, when it's muddy, but it was just a really tough bite, and a couple fish that I knew when I had lost them. I kept throwing the frog, actually. I throwing the black frog, and I knew when I lost them, it cost me the tournament, and we went to weigh in, and it did for sure. I knew how tough it was, but just little things, and I didn't have my trailer hook on my frog. I run this double wire stinger hook on the back of my frog, and I didn't put it on there early in the morning. And if I would have put it on there, that would have been the change to, being the money top. Yeah. I would have at least got second.
Dude, just like in the outdoors, especially that stuff happens, man. Like you're just gonna, you got to make Casey and I talked about this a lot because one of our main places we like to hunt a lot. We didn't. Neither one of us tagged a deer there this year, so it was kind of like we were like, man, but how close? So many times we were 50 yards, or whatever, and it's like, what did we do? And it's like, well, it wasn't like that we did anything wrong in particular throughout. It's just like I don't know how to phrase this. Not like a series of bad mistakes, but it's just like one day you did something trying to make the best decision you could, and it wasn't the right decision by 100 yards or whatever.
Well,
so
it's like it doesn't work like a movie. You know how like in a movie you're following your protagonist, and a series of unfortunate things happens to them, and then suddenly at the end of the movie it all works out.
Yeah.
When you're in hunting or fishing, it's not that way. Like there's no dues. Right? Yeah. You don't get dues paid when you're hunting or fishing. Like every day is a new day, and that whitetail or that bass is going to make you feel stupid no matter what,
Yeah. A lot of people are like, man, a lot of people tell, it's my turn. There's no turns in this game. There's no turn. It's nobody's turn. You're not, you're due for an opportunity, but it is 100%. You got to put yourself in the situation and in the moment to make things happen, delete all the stuff that could mess up the hunt or your fishing trip, checking your knots, checking your line. I grew up kind of just half, doing stuff kind of not to the full with my bows, not having the right stuff and equipment. And now that I'm hunting with Jared, he's got me dialed in for sure with the right equipment. He's taking care of me for sure, which is awesome, man. He treats me really well. And I love hunting with him, man. We make stuff happen together, man.
Yeah, we had him on a while back, dude. He's he's like, it was one of our highest downloaded podcasts. Like people know that dude's the real deal, man.
Absolutely. No, he is, God, he's just when I met him, I knew we were on the same page, and I was like, when you connect with somebody, you're like, man, I like that dude. He is like, I can hang around with him. You're not arguing about stuff. You're on the same page, and that's just how me and Jared are. I mean, we've never had an argument ever.
Yeah.
We're always on the same page, except for when we were chasing his big giant, trying to get that thing killed. Man, what a rodeo that was.
What was the argument there?
Oh, it was just, we were just trying to decide because we knew we had maybe one more opportunity to try to get on it when he flushed it up on where we needed to get and all that stuff. I mean, it was just heat of the battle. He had an idea and I had an idea, and we ended up kind of meeting in the middle, and it worked out. So
yeah, that's
it was.
I mean, when you're talking about a deer that's that big, like, things get a little weird sometimes,
Oh yeah, no, it was like a damn coyote chase, just trying to keep an eye on this thing. So
yeah, how many permissions did y'all have to grab? Let me make sure that I know which deer you're talking about. It's the one that he shot low and hit in the leg or something, then y'all had to get back on it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
we had to get permission for 2 different farms, 2 landowners out there that were really kind to let us go in and finish looking for the deer, and we happened to jump. Jared actually got a little weird feeling on the property where the deer ended up bedded, and it was his home. I mean, when you wound a deer like that, they go home, man. And that we finally found his bedroom, and Jared was so shook up. He shot at him, but it wasn't even close. When you've been out there trying to find that big deer like that, all of a sudden there it is. It just happened so quick, and it was in the brush, and he was trying to get another arrow in it. And thank God we were able to regroup and get way around where we thought he was going to go. And man, that was a good moment, man.
I bet,
that was a good moment. He was so meant to shoot that deer, man. It was just for what he's doing. It was just God, what an amazing animal.
Sure. Yeah. Dude, so did y'all tell, when you're getting permission on those properties, how do you say, man, we shot a little buck over here, or is it like, man, this is like the chance of a lifetime? How much information do you disclose when you're talking to somebody like that?
Yeah. Well, thank God we had the one landowner seen the deer where he ended up killing it, seen the deer wounded. And that was a big key ingredient to get us in there. He knew that the deer was wounded, and it wasn't like, hey, we hit a deer down there, we go down into the jungle and kill a big buck. It wasn't like, we were trying to work some system. It was a legit deal. He seen the dang leg cartwheeling, why it was running away. And right there in the heat of the battle, you've seen on the clip where when Jared went up to the van and like, hey, oh yeah, I seen it. That whole little moment in the Defiance video.
Yeah.
So that was the deal. But I'll tell you, if I have something like that, especially if I see a big buck, like let's say you're doing a knock on the door, cuff style, just go and you spot a big buck and he's on a piece of property, I'd just go up and say, hey, you carefully go out. Don't say, hey, you got a giant buck out here and we're going to go, can we go sneak in on it? Because then you just say, hey, you carefully go out and walk around, do a little deer hunt. They'll say, yeah, but all of a sudden you go saying, oh, we got a giant buck out there, double drop there. And be like, we're going to go buy a deer tag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be sneaky about it and work the system a little bit. You don't want to give away your opportunity. You go start telling somebody, oh, you got this biggest buck of all time laying out there. You carefully go get it. They're not going to be, maybe the right guy that's not a hunter.
Yeah, dude.
He'll say, yeah, go get it.
It's crazy how a non-hunter will become a hunter all of a sudden when big bucks start getting shot off his property.
You damn right, buddy. I've lost some serious spots that I used to hunt, and there was this one guy in particular that's pretty funny. I went out there, hunted like 5 or 6 days, killed a really nice buck, mid-150s to 160. He's like, hey, if you get one, I want to go out and recover it. I went back to the house. He went out and recovered it for me. He don't bow hunt or hunt. And then I did that like 3 years in a row, and all of a sudden that third time, he says, you know what? I'm thinking about maybe I need to go out and kill one of these big bucks.
Did you tell him that you got them all? There's none left.
Oh my God, I knew this was going to happen. And so I lost that spot. And this is crazy. I got to tell you the story. It's hilarious. So I am literally, so I go down the spot. And this is when I knew, this is the year after that, when he said that. He's still like, hey, go down there. But I might go try to go. And I'm like, okay, and he got him a new girlfriend. This guy's like in his upper 60s to 70 years old. And he's got him a girl about 30 years old.
Oh, man.
Okay, girlfriend, and she likes to hunt. Okay. And I knew this was going to be a problem. He's dating him for the hunting ground. So I...
must be a TV show host.
Cool. I read her like a book. So, but anyway, I get out there. This is mid-November. This is when I was still tree stand hunting. I get out in the tree. I actually had a ladder stand down in there. And I'm walking to the stand, and I'm like, it's peak of stuff's going on. Like, you're trying to not, mess anything up. This is crucial timing to try to make something happen. And I get out there, and I'm walking, and I like trip on something like a hedge wall. You know what a hedge wall is?
Like a horse apple?
Yeah.
Little them big green balls.
Yep.
I thought it was a hedge ball I tripped on. I'm like, the heck was around there? I don't remember a hedge ball being there. Well, I get up in the stand, and it starts getting light. And it's red everywhere on the ground. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I bet you there was 1,000 apples under my tree stand. Oh. Yeah. And he had a couple apple trees up in the yard. Well, she put all these apple trees, and all of a sudden I see a fence post or a T-post. And 2 T-posts had 2 cameras aiming right at this big, giant apple orchard laying on the ground right in front of my tree stand that she had there to try to get pictures. And I literally I'm just like, I'm going to sit here. I didn't know about the dang apples. And all of a sudden I heard a 4 light up at the house where I parked. Here she comes driving down in his Gator right down to the setup. And she pulls right up there and she's like, I'm just checking the cameras. I'll be right out of here. Oh. I couldn't believe it. Literally. I'm sitting there like in the middle of a hunt. She goes driving down the note. Last time I ever hunted the spot. Yeah. I left the damn stand there and everything. Dang. But what a joke, man. She was down there, like, knew that I was hunting. But, and deep down, she was a woman that wanted to get me out of her new hunting spot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Golly, man. Was that a feed state? Was it even legal to do that?
No, it was illegal. It was illegal for sure. Oh, yeah. But I got out. I didn't shoot nothing.
Yeah. Well, we're in the land of the happy hunting ground of corn on the ground everywhere. So, I don't really always know who can.
Hey, let me tell you something. If you don't, I've learned from guiding down in Texas and from Webb County to up by you guys. I haven't really been that far north, but if you don't have bait on the ground down there, you're wasting your time. Oh, yeah. Literally. Like, it's not like you're in different spots. Like down there in the brush country, if you ain't got bait, you're pretty much
it ain't
a complete needle in the haystack because it's just there's no like certain.
No, there's there's no edge. There's nothing. It's just a vast area of monotonous country. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess if you had 60 days to hunt, you could sit in the same spot and sooner or later law averages a big bucket walk by. But everybody across the U.S. is doing what they can to maximize their amount of time in the woods, and that's just what you got to do sometimes.
Everybody's got their different flavor in different parts of the country. You got to do certain things, and you got to adapt to the situation, and it's all good. It's here's the deal. Me and Jerry, I'm doing the public thing, but I hunted for years out of tree stands, killed a lot of really nice bucks out of the tree, and I'm not just like saying like, oh, I'm doing the public hunt now because that's all easy. I'm not against none of that. I love it. Trust me. If I buy a piece of ground, hopefully here eventually I'll have my landowner tag and I'll be right out there in the tree stand doing all that stuff. But hunting is different for everybody. Everybody's got their little flavor that they love to do and how they like to hunt. And you just can't ever put anybody down with their thing. Everybody's got different views of it, and it's hunting. Have a good time, high five, and go out and kill a big buck. Yeah, I don't care.
I was going to actually talk to you about some of that stuff because what kind of spurred that thought in my mind was I noticed that this spring you found some just giant road ditch sheds, and I was like,
that was pretty cool.
So tell me a story about that.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're driving around turkey hunting. I got my turkey suit out. crawling and brawling some turkeys. And we're driving, and all of a sudden, boom, I look over in this little corn, and the edge of the corn right there, and I seen a side. So I go out there, grab it, and then right on the edge of the ditch, there's the other one. It was just a random drive-by road shed.
How big is that? It looks like super massive.
Let me tell you something. I got long arms, and they look a lot bigger than they are. They look like a 170 set, but it's like I'm going to say a upper 140s type deer.
Oh, okay, so, I got you.
Still,
I fooled you boys, didn't I?
You did, man.
Heck of a set of sheds either way, match set. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, they're beauties. But that deer will be a freak. You can't tell the age by sheds, but you can kind of get an idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He ain't 2.
I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
No. He ain't 2 and he ain't 5.
Yeah.
That makes him about 3.5, huh?
that's what I'm thinking. That's about right.
That's my favorite phrase.
Say that. He's 3.5. He's 3 years and 4 months.
Yeah, dude. I was watching a show the other day, and I don't take in a lot of hunting media because this stuff like this bugs me to no end. But this guy was like, he walks up to this dead deer and he's like, man, he's like 3 or maybe even 3.5. And I was like,
oh no.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I mean, you can take a wild guess. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't know until you send the jawbone in. I learned that from Mickey Hellickson, which you guys maybe know Mickey Hellickson, right?
I don't know. Who's that?
I know the name.
He's the deer biologist. He was the deer biologist for the King Ranch for years.
Oh, that's right. I knew that name.
Yeah, he's got a PhD for deer biology, and he is a wizard. That guy knows his stuff, and that's who I worked for years, running a big property down in Iowa and taking all you guys heard of IBC, right?
Mm-hmm.
International Bank of Commerce. I took Dennis Nixon and all the bank presidents and all that stuff. That's what I did for 5 years. I guided all those guys hunting in Iowa.
Wow.
That's cool.
So that was a cool little gig for a while.
Yeah, imagine.
They treated me good.
I bet you saw some tanks up there, man. I
did.
I drew my first Iowa tag last year, and we were on some pretty good deer.
Saw some tanks.
But the second trip, I had lost permission from the first trip to the second trip, and ended up having to go to public. And I shot a good buck, but he wasn't a giant or anything. But had a good time for sure. Learned a lot. You know. So when you're finding sheds like that, like how often are you targeting a deer for next year, or like going, I need to get permission on that spot or whatever?
Here's the deal. Well, now that I'm doing public, I don't even, seriously, shed hunting's got so out of hand. I loved it. I grew up doing it.
Yeah.
I found 2 big sides in my day. I don't know how I found hundreds of sheds, but there's only 2 real big true. I got a 94-inch side, and I got an 84-inch. I got an 84-inch typical side.
Oh my!
Which actually was a beautiful chocolate color. I'll send you guys a couple pictures. But I used to do it all the time. But now there's so many people doing it that I just feel like I'm walking behind people, and I just if I get a wild hair one day and I'm in the mood, I'll go do it. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I love shed hunting, but to answer your question, back before I started hunting public, I'd be like, okay, them sheds. Usually where they drop their sheds, they don't live too far from there.
Yeah,
I believe. You know what I'm saying? They either drop them in their bedroom or it's not too far from where they're living. So I didn't get permission and killed a couple deer doing that.
Yeah. Back 2 years ago, me and Tyler both were on a giant, massive 8-point. Probably wouldn't have scored real high, but big 8. And on the ground actually, and got pretty close, but didn't get a shot. And then, it wasn't 2 days later, I found the shed from the previous year off that deer right in the same place. Literally, 200 yards from that same spot. So there's something to it, man.
Wow.
And I don't know, that history's cool, but at the same time, you don't always. I think that. Yeah, you're right about shed hunting has kind of gotten out of hand, and it's really like it's kind of a private land type deal, really. To be able to pick up these sheds and be the guy who has the picture of 3 years of sheds with a deer or whatever. It's awesome to find a shed off a deer on public, and if I see that deer, I'm smoking him, but I ain't waiting on him. You know what I mean?
No, you can't wait.
No, not at all.
You just told me that. Okay, so I got to tell you a quick deal. So when I was shed hunting pretty heavy, I found this set. Actually, one of the horns I use for rattling. So I use 2 right sides. I do it kind of different than a lot of people, but I use it for one of my rattling horns. Well, I literally went, and it was probably the coolest looking horn, not real big, but just a really cool looking horn. And I go back out the next year thinking I'm going to go look like, oh, he had to have grown, right? I get out there and start looking around, literally walk to the same, I bet you the shed from him from the year before, the next year was laying within 2 feet of the other one.
Whoa.
Like that was his bedding spot. When he'd go out and feed, he would lay right in this little waterway. And I found, the next year's side in the same spot.
That's cool.
Craziest thing I ever seen in my life.
Dude, that's so cool.
Anyways, I use both of those for my rattling horns.
Well, why do you like the 2 right side? We've had this discussion before.
Well, just because I don't like hitting my fingers. Okay?
Me neither.
So, and I don't want to cut the brow tines off.
Me neither.
What I do is, yeah. So I grab the left side with my left hand, or the right side, one right side with my left hand, and then I bring the other to grab the other one, and I bring that horn into that one while I'm holding it. Mm-hmm. So I face the outside towards the inside, and I bring that rack, and man, it's just cool. I love it. It's the best sound that I've had using horns, but every set's different. You know how it works.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna absolutely freak when you see this new video coming out. I literally left my horns in Iowa and I went to Kansas and went and borrowed some from an old guy out of a coffee shop. Followed him to his house, and I got a couple of bleached out white horns off of his fence. He let me borrow them to use. And literally, I was like, I'll probably rattle in the biggest buck of my life. And it wasn't an hour later, and it happened.
Dadgummit. Man, that's cool.
But I didn't get him, so I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna shoot that big this year.
Good. You better.
I know right where he lives. He jived me. It wasn't a good moment. Caught me on my cell phone. You'll find out. You'll see. What
a bad feeling.
Worst deer hunting moment of my life is what you dream of to happen, and I screwed it up doing what I make fun of people doing.
Yeah.
Being on their cell phones when they're hunting.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
I've yet to make that mistake. It's coming one day for sure, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm on my phone quite a bit, especially I like to sit for a while, sometimes, pretty late in the morning.
In a tree stand, it's different.
Oh,
you can be on your cell phone. Crap, it's all good. But,
So on that point, like a while ago, you kind of said, I used to tree stand hunt, but now I do all the public thing, which you kind of just infer that you're doing that pretty much from the ground, totally. And is that
100%?
You just feel like you're just that much more effective from the ground?
Yeah. I mean, just because this style I've learned and learned so much from Jared that you just gotta make them moves to be able to put yourself in position. And if you're up there and all that's going on, all of a sudden there goes an hour and you thought he was going to come, there would have been the time that you could have got up and got on one.
Yeah.
And it's you just obviously if you're hunting private, you don't want to go, sneak up and have something happen if you don't think it's right and you blow the deer completely off the property and, there's no law, you ain't hunting. We're in public, man. I mean, there could be somebody 3 or 10 guys there tomorrow, the next morning, you think you're going to go in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You got to just take advantage of the moment and act like it's not going to be there tomorrow, and try to make it happen. It don't always work out, but you delete a lot of the stuff that could go wrong and make quick decisions, and fast decisions is key. The most key to being on the ground that I've learned is making quick decisions. You go messing around, let's see what he does for 10 minutes. That was the 10 minutes you needed to be able to get in and kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I mean, multiple times.
Okay, so take us through like a morning of hunting. Like you're gonna set up in like some kind of vantage at first, right?
Yes, we're gonna have an idea where we're gonna go, and we'll go and do some get up on a high spot and do a lot of glassing and try to get an idea of what kind of deer are in the area, and be somewhere where it's open where you can see a lot. And, we spot one, we make sure it's on public and move in on him. And if all of a sudden that prime time in the morning where a lot of movement is, where they've been chased, out rutting around all night, and they're kind of still out in the fields and working their does back to, the cover and different stuff like that. Once that's kind of over, then we just go on the cruise and hopefully run into one. I mean, a lot of people watch these videos and they're thinking, man, they're just seeing tons of deer. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some deer on private, but on public, it's a damn grind. I mean, we had, we didn't see very many shooters, I mean, let's say you go out there for 2 weeks. Let's say, 14 days, might see 2 shooters on public and might not even have an opportunity. That's just getting a visual.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's a shooter?
Take advantage of the moment. You know what? The shooter, everybody's got their own shooter.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You guys agree? 9, I want to be happy with it. I'm not going to go shoot a little rack because I've already shot some nice bucks and I don't want to be, I'd rather just shoot a doe. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be greedy about it.
Yep.
If it turns me on, I'm going to shoot it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my standards have dropped just a little bit because I'm not hunting private and stuff like that. I'm into beautiful 8-point 140s, 100 and here's how I kind of look at it: 140-inch 8-point, 150 to 160-inch 10. I mean, I'm into all of that.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to go shoot a 115-incher. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't need to. It's not going to turn me on, so I'm not going to shoot it.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you're like, how often do you guys see a deer moving on public, and you say you got to make quick decisions, which can, in my like experience, moving on deer on the ground, like a lot of times, especially in open country, you don't have a whole lot of landmarks, so you end up like busting a deer because you got the spot just 100 yards wrong or whatever. Like, how often are you guys taking off on a deer and just busting it out of the country?
Oh, it happens. It happens. I mean, we're definitely playing the wind. Even 100% playing the wind, and working the situation the best we can to get in there or be able to get in. If it's dead calm, you ain't sneaking up on the whitetail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there. It ain't happening. You got to have wind. You got to have wind, and that situation's got to be right. Fortunately, out in the open country, a lot of time there's wind enough to get away with, getting in on them. But man, to answer your question, it's every situation's different, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, you just got to play the moment. And what I'm getting by is like, you got to make, the seconds are, sometimes we've messed up the hunt by not making the move too quick. I mean, is what I'm saying is, you guys have been in a situation all of a sudden, like, should we go down, should we go now, and all of a sudden you kind of hold back and you're just like almost nervous to make that move, but it's the move that you need to do. You just got to go with your instinct. And sometimes it don't work, but your gut is, I'm going to say 80% of the time right, man.
Yeah.
When it comes to deer hunting, you gotta, and doing that stuff, it's the most aggressive style of hunting. I mean, it is literally, you're all of a sudden they go behind a little thicket and you're running, and that was the gamble to get you in position to kill.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't have made that, you're like, oh, I don't want to run across there. Just stuff like that. You got to use your head and just trust me. I've failed a lot.
Yeah.
And doing this stuff, but after you gather so many experiences, that one, it just kind of ingrains into your mind and you make the right decision. Same thing as tournament fishing. It's all about decision making. People don't get, you can get lucky in a bass tournament, but the guys that are good, they're always consistent. And it's the same with deer hunting. I've built up enough times that I've messed up through my years that I've built to be successful doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just time out there, man. It don't happen overnight. Shit. And trust me, I could go out next time. I could miss that 200 incher this year if I get an opportunity, but let's just not hope. Let's just not, hope on that. Let's you guys make a prayer for me tonight. Chancy Dance is going to kill one big 200.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. That would not be fun to miss. It's like that, losing that 11 pounder.
If I shoot that thing, I'll come down and party with you boys.
All right. Sounds good.
I just mixed a Jim Beam and Coke right now.
Pre-date drink.
Date ready, man. Tyler and I, in the last couple of years, have gotten more and more into the ground stuff, kind of by necessity sometimes. And we're both just conservative people by nature. And that's been the hardest thing to overcome. And we're still trying to bridge that gap where we want to make sure we make the right moves every time.
But I think we also deal with, like, it's not just a 10-day hunt for us. Like, we can come back. So we don't want to spook the deer out of the country. So that's like something that's a different probably dynamic than some of the things you guys deal with sometimes.
Yes,
I'm sure.
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we do. We both tend to think really hard about decisions, especially me.
It's just I don't know, man. That's the hardest. If I can say the hardest thing that I've learned about hunting from the ground is not being too conservative and really understanding what you can do whenever you're trying to get in on a buck. I mean, this year we had a 150-ish 10-point at 45 yards for 20 minutes, right? And it was just too windy to take that shot. And we're kind of to the point where we couldn't go any further, we'd be exposed. Well, finally, 20 minutes later, we decided to use a decoy, and it just goes to crap, right? Yeah. But it's like, man, if we would have just not sat around for 20 minutes and made a move, at least we wouldn't have lost that 20 minutes of our life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just sitting there being anxious the whole time.
Exactly.
I don't know.
The hardest part for me sometimes is like a lot of times if you can see the deer, especially in open country, if you can see the deer, he can see you. So it's like, well, if I make a move right now, like I'm going to have to like stand up a little bit to make a move, and it's like, how do I keep that deer from seeing me from 200 yards away or whatever, Yeah. That's kind of a difficult thing.
I'll tell you a little trick that I've always, that we've used a lot is all of a sudden, like for me and Jared, he'll be, if it's far enough away, but they can still see it, he'll be glassing them. I'll make the move, and he'll tell me to stop when I need to stop, when that deer even has a position where he's going to even kind of – because at a distance, you can't see real good with the naked eye. You know what I mean? You don't know if he's looking at you or what, and he'll just stop. All of a sudden, I'll stop. All right, go ahead. You just got to work together and do that. That's one visual on that damn deer's eyes is key, because they got a lot going on. They're chasing women around. They're chasing does around. They got – satellite bucks bebopping them, trying to get in on their jig for the night. They don't, they got a lot on their mind. Now, obviously, they're always alert, but that is this. Use that to your advantage, man. And I'll tell you, the main thing sneaking up during the rut, you got to know, you got to look around, and you got to act like there's a satellite buck around there, because 9 times out of 10, when you're sneaking up on a big one, trust me, there's a little puke buck hanging out around, and they will ruin the whole program on you. It's happened multiple times, but I can't tell you how many times now that I'm paying a lot more attention. You get in there and there he is. There's that little punk, and he's laying right there, and you work around him and at least try to flush. So you got enough wind, flush him out of there. Yeah, they usually don't blow at you if you're real close to them and blow them out.
Yeah, dude, how do you spot those deer sometimes? Like those little spikes and does, man. Sometimes they've messed us up so bad.
Oh man, this past year, both times that we were tied on the ground, the doe that the buck was with messed it up, and it's real hard to overcome that.
Yeah,
dadgummit.
Yeah,
you can't see them slick heads in the grass, man.
No, you can't. You can't. No, you'll literally. We'll just take our binoculars. You just scan through the weeds. You move a little bit farther, especially if we get a buck and we don't know where he's bedded down. I've sat all day on a buck that wasn't there before. No, because I had to go through a little. That sucks. That's a bad moment. But you literally sneak through a little brushy area to get to where you want. Well, in that amount of time, I'm going to say a minute. The buck got up, ran the doe out, and I didn't get to see it. And then all of a sudden, I'm still on the chase. I'm sitting there waiting for him to stand up, and there was never no deer there. But there's a lot of times where you just got to just glass with your binoculars and look, and all of a sudden you'll just see the tips of the ears, or you'll see that rack, just a little shine. It's a spooky feeling when you see that. You're like, oh, there he is. And actually, it's a really good moment, man. When you find a big one bedded. Oh my God.
Yeah. Awesome. I snuck into one 2 years ago. Wasn't a giant buck, but would have been my first deer from the ground. And I got to about, 20 yards before I realized he was there. It's like, oh my goodness. Things go from what's going on to 100 real quick whenever that happens, Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you do in that situation? Let's talk a little tactic. Say it's a morning and they've been doing the rut thing all night long, and they work it all out with the satellites, and then they lock down during the day. They got they're on that doe. They're going to stick with her and bed with her throughout the day. How are you hunting that buck?
Well, it depends. If I see him and he's, I see where he's headed, I kind of get an idea. It might take a morning or two just to sit back and see what they're doing. But all of a sudden I see him working to an area, I love to get around him and cut him off. That's what we like to do. But if sometimes, you get in the peak of the rut, they just get bedded up with a doe and they just stay there.
Yeah.
If she gets up, he gets up.
Yeah.
They take a piss, then they lay back down. That's when sometimes you just got to get up on a high spot and just do some serious laughs, and all of a sudden you're looking out, you drive by. I mean, how many times you drive by and all of a sudden there's no deer out there? Come back by and like, where did he come from? Well, he just stood up. Is all they're bedded out there. Sometimes you just got to set in the spot and just give it time, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a deer. He just stood up. There he is, and all of a sudden there's that freak just standing there. I mean, that's a cool way to look at it too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, whenever they're locked down like that, are you going to go try to kill him midday, like when they're doing their whole bedding and jacking around?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to kill him in his dreams. These things already got too many advantages on me. If we can catch him while they're bedded there and sleeping, I'm not going to have that experience like Droopy again. That sucks.
Yeah. So have you
sure.
Has Jared converted you into the trad bow life, or are you still shooting a compound?
Yeah, I still shoot compound. I just haven't made the switch yet.
Sir,
I haven't made the switch
apologies.
yet. Here's the deal. He's going to switch me over. I don't feel confident yet. I mean, if I think I could do it if I practice. I don't know. Jared's like,
well, you got to be fishing this time of year. You can't be practicing shooting a bow.
Exactly. Like, here's what's so funny. Everybody's like, you need to practice your bow more. Well, let me tell you something. Every time I grab my bow and I go shoot at the target, it's on. A compound bow is on.
I know. That's how I feel too.
You know what I'm saying? It's like shooting a scope gun. You shoot it, it's on. Okay. I just got the things that happen to me. It's not that I'm a bad shot. I'm a pretty good shot. It's just deer cut cookies, man. Stupid stuff. Actually, there's one. What was it? 2 years ago, I hit the fence and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I was shooting through a fence and Jared walks the footage. He's like, dude, you hit the fence. That's why you missed the deer. I'm like 30 yards. I'm like, how did I miss that thing?
Yeah.
Well, things happen, man. You hit a weed. It's crazy what one little weed will do to deflect your arrow.
I know. We've seen it. And that's the thing about hunting from the ground. So, I mean, I know Jared's obviously going to be using a pretty heavy arrow. Is yours a heavy arrow as well for a compound bow?
No, I think it's a 400 is all.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting a 125 grain now. I like the heavier
fixed blade
head. It just gets better penetration, I believe.
Yeah. It's a fixed blade
and,
head, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I shoot the dirt naps. They're an awesome head. It's a great head to shoot, and I love it because you can sharpen them and all that. And there's different 2-blade broadheads out in the market. Tom Adelman's a really good buddy of mine, and he hooks me up with some broadheads, and he takes care of me, and I shoot his head. He's such a great friend of mine, so he treats me well. I love those.
Because I've seen, when you guys sometimes when a deer stands up, or, in that final moment before the shot happens, essentially, something happens and the deer get weird, but they don't know what's going on. They're disoriented. They stand up. They kind of make like a semicircle and start looking around. I mean, how do you, what goes through your mind as you decide on, what range that buck is actually standing at and what pin to use?
We try to. We've been in situations. I like the range of bush or a thick little clump of weeds next to where he's at. So if that situation happens, and I feel like we're not going to get any closer, or they're going to leave, or if we're running out of daylight or something like that, you got to kind of have a ballpark, especially when you have two of you. I mean, I can say, Jared, you think he's 40? You think he's 30? And then when you have a double communication on how far do you think he is, man, that feels good. So if he stands up, you already know what you're ready to do, Hey, sometimes it don't work out. I mean, there's been times that real wide deer, I guessed him at, what I guess him at? I guessed him at 50 and he was 60. And I just literally if I would have knew 60, I could have shot him at 60.
Yeah.
But I put my 50-yard pin, I just barely went right under his stomach, I mean, that was a bummer deal. sometimes you know, it's bow hunting, man. It's Cherokee jungle hunting. I mean, you
love
don't know.
it, dude.
This ain't.
I love it, man. That's
how it is. You don't know. You just got to get back. I get pissed off, wound up, so mad, but you just got to, I'm going to complain like a little baby for a little while, but I'm back in the grind.
Man, it's so funny. So Tyler and I handle those situations so differently. I missed a deer because of a deflection off the ground in 2018. The buck I rattled in from 400 yards away. We watched the whole thing in open country. It was bad to the bone, right? And I'm shooting expandables through the grass, grab grass with expandable, arrow goes flip-flopping, boomeranging through the air, and Tyler automatically goes, ugh, and lays down on the ground.
Just staring at the blue sky,
And I'm like, dude, it's okay. He's still out there 100 yards. You might have. And then, December 31st rolls around, and I'm singing the blues. Tyler's like, it's okay, man. It's fine. So it's just, I drag it out a little bit more, in the moment he's down.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But how do you overcome those misses, man?
Here's the deal. You almost got to just, there's been times where let's go eat lunch, man. Let's go regroup. Maybe let's go have a margarita, and have a margarita and, chill out and
go on a date.
I don't know. No, I don't. Here's the deal. We don't drink while we're out there. That's all out. We might have a couple Busch lattes afterwards or I don't drink beer much anymore. I don't. Seriously, I drank enough of it in my younger days, keg days back in the day when we threw all the parties. I drank a lot of keg here. Well, I like to, maybe I'll go have a rum and Coke or a little Crown and Coke just to settle. But I don't drink a lot. I mean, I have one or two at dinner or something here and there. Yep. But driving around, we'll just maybe go into town and get something to eat, or Jared might have to talk me through it and get me over it. And then there's plenty of big beer out there.
Yeah,
and you just whatever. I mean, when you miss a big buck or mess up the stock, it don't just go away. I mean, that big one's. I mean, they haunt you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is part of it.
Yeah, I've been haunted a lot because I've yet to actually shoot one off the ground. But I've had a lot of missed stalks and missed opportunities. So you could just call my dreams.
You boys sound like you know what you're doing. You guys are going to kill plenty of big deer on the ground. And
learning would be what you would call it.
We talk.
You're always learning, dude. Trust me, I'm always learning. But sometimes when I think I got this, no problem. It's the most humbling sport in the world. Fishing is the number one humbling sport in the world. Just when you think you think you're on top of the mountain, all of a sudden you'll blank. I've done it. I was at Grand Lake last year on the Bassmaster Open. I was on fish. I got 15th on the FLW Double Day Super Tournament the weekend before. First time ever on Grand Lake. Feeling good. Lost a couple key fish to put me in the top 5 probably. And I go back into the Bassmaster Open. It was the weekend after. And, I pretty much caught all my dang fish in that for the Bassmaster Open in the FLW tournament. But I ended up, I was setting 15th on the first day in the Open. And big storm come through that night. And my stupid ass went and set right on the same spot. Said to go run and bank and go and try and catch 10 pounds or maybe a mega bag on a buzz bait or spinner bait in that overcast day. It's just I knew better. And it just, something was telling me I want to swing to the fences and try to get 15, 16 pounds and be sitting in there in contention. And I should have went and ran bank. I did for a little bit, lost a big one, and it just cost me. It was just bad decisions, man. But I look back at it, I learned from that. I get in that situation again. I'm going to remember that moment that happened to me at Grand Lake. And I'm going to, I was setting good in contention for my first big giant tournament like that to do really, really good. And I just, I learned from it big time. So hopefully we'll get a good run this year, hopefully.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. I hope the best for you, man, for sure. You guys with Whitetail Adrenaline, man, you guys get after it. You guys are known for the public land, hunting from the ground like we've been talking about, and you mentioned like running, and stuff like that. But what happens when you get old? Like, are you gonna go back to the tree stand stuff, or do you just quit hunting?
Thank God I'm lean and mean and healthy. Holy, I mean, you never know. I'm going to do it until I can't do it no more, or until my girlfriend, just
turns
tells
into
me
your
she's
wife.
gonna leave me
until
if
she
I go
ties you
deer
down.
hunting for a month, And I'm like, Yeah, she's a great woman. She's a hell of a hunter too herself. But I'm going to do it. I love doing it, and I'm going to do it until I can't do it no more.
Are y'all
like
the next
I said,
power
if I buy
couple?
a piece of ground. What's that?
Are y'all the next outdoor power couple?
No, there ain't gonna be no Lee and Tiffany thing going on. That's just out of hand. I ain't doing
Holy
none
buckets.
of that crap. We have a good time. She's way cooler than Tiffany. I mean, Tiffany's cool. I like Tiffany. I know Tiffany. My girlfriend, she's awesome.
That's cool,
She's
man.
a great woman. But we have a good time. Hell of a fisherman, dude. Let me tell you something. First tournament I ever took her in, she caught the biggest bass that's ever been weighed in on that lake.
Oh,
Wow.
my
She's a
goodness.
power fish. I ever throw on a big spinner bait, swim bait, or a buzz bait, just, something that she can just keep going. She always catches a big one. On a bait caster, too. That woman will throw a bait caster better than most men.
Yeah, it's funny.
Love it.
Women can do some things better than us, man. It's just a plain and simple fact, man. My wife can shoot. Can actually. This is kind of funny because you said you just don't feel comfortable enough with a recurve or a longbow yet, and my wife can outshoot me with my recurve any day, man.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Women are they ain't trying to compete. They're just shooting.
Yeah,
They're steady. They ain't worried about anybody else. And
yeah.
She gets a little, when I'm around her, she gets kind of messed her program up. She thinks I'm judging how she's doing something. I'm like, listen, I am actually like the worst at like doing it perfectionist, like holding the bow right. I got my own ways of doing it. I'm not Ron White. You know what I'm saying? Ron White's the best bow shot of all time, I think. I mean, he's a good friend of mine too. I gotta give him crap, but Olympic gold medalist. I mean, trust me, listen to a guy like that.
Oh, yeah. We had him on the show, actually. He was a good interview.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. That guy is probably one of the biggest. He's killed. He is an unbelievable hunter. Rod is. There's one guy that I think that is probably killed probably the most big deer in the world, and killed more. Not necessarily public, but he has killed more free range big bucks than anybody in this world. Mitch Cachette, man, he's a great friend of mine. That guy is a true killer of big bucks. Big bucks have nightmares about him. He is a big buck boogeyman for sure.
Man, so that's cool.
Anyways,
so where's he? Is he out of Iowa?
Out of Iowa, yeah. He has a lot of ground, but he has a phrase, and this is a good thing for everybody to hear. He says toss. What the hell's toss? Time on stand, stupid. That's all it is.
I like it.
Time on stand. Because he wears camo that is from 15 years ago, bleached out.
Yeah.
He just plays the wind and goes and kills giants. I mean, I bet he's killed 20 of them over 170 with his bow.
Oh, man.
I think he's killed way more than that. I don't know what I'm thinking. I bet he's killed 20 of them over 170. I bet he's killed 10 over 180 with his bow.
Golly, man.
Like 3 200s. I mean, it's just Hayes he's a good hunter too, but he ain't. This Mitch Cachette's on a whole nother level.
Really? Man, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to have him on the podcast sometime, talk about big deer.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. See if he's kind of just keeps quiet. He does something. He don't like, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of guys out there like that.
Yeah.
They're killing big deer and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they got barns full of booners.
Dude. He's the toughest dude of all time. I think all the landowners around him are scared to shoot one of the big deer because I think he would whoop their ass. He is he's just a beast. Like 2-time state champion wrestler, just a mean redheaded beast.
All you had to say was redheaded, man.
Oh, now we know.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. Redheads, no, they're mean. They're the meanest ones.
They are, dude. So you're a good follow on Instagram. What's like other than that, and I guess tell us your Instagram handle, and then also like what's the best way for the audience that may be interested just to find out what you're up to, man.
I have my Instagram page is just Chancy Walters, CHANCY. And here's the deal. There's no drama on my page, but I put fishing and hunting and food on that thing. That's all I do. Fish, hunt, and cook good food, and have a good time. I'm not a drama man, but I got my Instagram page, and I just started my outdoor page, which is Chancy Walters Outdoors on Facebook, and I got my art page, Chancy Walters. Is my art page. I have 3 pages on Facebook, but I got one for to build my sponsorships and stuff through my fishing and stuff like that.
Sure.
For Chancy Walters Outdoors on Facebook. So
cool,
give it a like, a roo.
We'll do, man. We'll post that stuff.
In.
Yeah, we'll post that those links in the notes. So if somebody's listening and wants to go check it out, do it. And yeah, dude, thanks so much for hanging out with us. I know you're probably itching to get on your date, and you got that curfew tonight.
It's all good. It's all good. We're gonna slide down to the Mexican restaurant, have a little carne asada, and maybe a margarita for Giggies. So,
hot dog, man. That sounds like a good meal.
Yeah, no, dang good. So hopefully we'll get to meet up with you boys sometime. Hopefully, maybe when I'm down there in Oklahoma, maybe we can pick an evening and meet up and have dinner and a couple of drinks of roux and
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, man.
We'll chat with you boys later.
Dude, anytime you get an itch, you and Jared get an itch to tackle some real public land in Texas, y'all come on down. We'll hang out and do some stuff, man.
I'll tell you where I'm thinking about. I'm about sick of all these big giants getting shot over in Ohio. I might have to just join that party.
Yeah, dude, we've heard some stories lately about Ohio, man.
Oh, man.
Every 2 seconds you look, there's 200 public ground. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Daddy's switching gears. We're going to delete Iowa and go to Ohio.
That's right. We may have to meet you up there sometime. I've been looking into it. I'll tell you that. So, anyway.
Sweet.
Well, cool, man. We appreciate
boys.
it. And, yeah, dude, we'll have you on some other time, talk about some more stuff, man.
Absolutely.
All
Anytime, man. You guys have a great evening.
All right,
see
you too,
brother.
man.
I don't know what I'm more fired up about. Shooting a whitetail off the ground or going out there and trying to catch a giant bass?
Hunting, fishing, and loving every day.
Oh,
man.
you know it, man. Dude, when me and my wife were fixing to get married, which was my fiance at the time, I was getting to know her family, all this stuff, and her uncle, who was like, man, me and my wife were driving the other day, and we just heard this song that we really think y'all need to play at your wedding. Oh, no. I was like, oh, really? Cool. What is it? He's like, man, it's this Luke Bryan song. Hunting, fishing, loving every day. It just sounds just like y'all. And I was like, I'll tell Cassie. And that's where it died.
Yeah, it didn't fly. Didn't fly.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I know
that does sound just like
hey, if you're listening and you like that music, then you're going to love Tyler and the Tribe. So go download that right now. But anyways, I don't listen to music at all, so I'm not the best consultant on that deal.
Yep.
But the boys never caught any big Alps down there noodling. So, but they had some.
They had a big one.
They had a big one that they got somewhere else.
Goodness.
Yeah, but dude, Chancy, he's got it figured out, man.
Yeah. Yep.
You know why?
Because he doesn't have a wife.
That's right. He figured out how to have a blast and also be pretty successful.
Yeah.
We've got the have a blast thing figured out pretty good.
We do.
The success is sometimes there.
It's spotty.
It's spotty.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, man, and maybe just need a few more years or something. I don't know, but that's the gap I want to bridge is the freaking have a party and also kill big giant bucks on the reg.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. We're honing in on them, man.
Yeah.
There's a hummingbird out there eating flowers.
This is just a birdie place right now.
It's kind of late for him to be out. I feel like
it's
there's two of them.
Bottle brush, man. They love it.
So, you and I were talking about this before we got on, how much we despise social media right now.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Facebook groups are pretty awesome.
It's the redeeming quality of Facebook. And now they gave you a button you can press for groups.
Yep.
And if you got good admins, they filter out all that bullcorn that all your high school acquaintances are posting.
Yeah.
And there's a hummingbird right there.
That's why, that was cool.
And
that's why we keep our Element friends and fans group small.
Yeah.
So we don't have to mess with it. We got only cool people in that group.
That's right. I ain't had to admin nothing on there.
No.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you click that button and then it's like figs, heirloom tomatoes, chickens.
I know. There's the heirloom tomatoes. So KC invited me to this group called Secret. What is it?
Secret heirloom tomato varieties or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. Dude, it is bad to the bone. This is nerd status.
And everybody is apparently the Cherokee purples are starting to come off right now.
Yeah.
And everybody's slicing Cherokee purple and putting pepper on it and just posting pictures of these big tomato steaks.
They're the best, dude. I didn't get to check my Cherokees today, but I can tell one of them is about to do it, I think.
I'm still like probably 10 days off from having a ripe tomato. But I'm going to have a legit Beefmaster.
Dude,
or beef steak,
I thought I was
10
10 days off like 20 days ago, and I still haven't got one. Yeah.
Taking a while, huh?
I had this big green one at the bottom. It's just been green forever, man. It's finally starting to turn.
Is it cat face like?
No.
No? I like those cat face ones.
I don't.
I think they're cool.
I think they're hard to slice. They don't look good for me to slice.
Maybe.
You know?
They're just neat, though, man.
You just got to slice
You
like
remember
a
that
boat.
brandy wine I had a couple years back when we made salsa over in Alba?
Oh, yeah.
It was
I
like
do.
a pound and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't too hard cat face, though. Some of those on that group get
V-shaped. I don't
V-shaped.
want no ugly tomato with a bunch of brown stuff on it,
Yeah.
but like one that's got some squiggles on the outside is cool.
Yeah. Dude, it's a cool group, man. I started, the first night that you invited me and I was accepted in the group, I went and looked at the seed catalog for the people who kind of started the group or whatever.
Yeah, no, you're wanting to buy seeds like in May.
I wanted to buy them all, dude. Well, so I was going to buy some, and I asked a question about storing them. People are like, oh, yeah, the store, just keep them dry or whatever. And so I get ready 2 days later to go buy some, and they're like, oh, we're closed for the season. They closed down from the time that I joined the group to the time that I went to buy.
A lot of those places do that stuff. And who else does it? Oh, like Trees of Antiquity and Trees of Joy and
dude,
all these things that are I guess heirloom or heritage variety stuff. This is the kind of the off season during the summer. Everybody's planting in the spring and buying in the winter.
But then they opened up in August. So what's weird is that our climate is so much different than a lot of people's.
Oh, yeah.
Man. I mean, even in America, but there's a ton of Canada people that are on that website that it's what's weird is that we're so far away from each other and our climate is so much different that it's not even just push their season a month or two. You know what I mean? It's the season is completely different and whack, And I've noticed this with some of the deer research that I've been doing, the planting for deer research that I've been doing. It's some of the places up north in Michigan and stuff. It's they can plant stuff that will like last all summer and into the fall. And I'm like, dude,
stuff burns up here.
It burns to a crisp here. Like, and this is like, and this isn't like arid country where we're at. We've got tons of lakes. Like it's East Texas. We get Gulf humidity. Like, and it's just so hot. It is hot.
And I think the other weird thing that I've noticed is that people talk about planting green for the winter. I don't think it gets cold enough to make deer hit green that hard.
Dude, there's something green around here at all times of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I had that wheat and oat patch, like half acre this year, and the deer walked through it and would nibble or whatever, but it never was a food source.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could just go to the woods and find beautyberry or greenbrier or whatever. And I don't know, it's a different deal, man. That's why, you know, Chancy's point. I love hearing people from other parts of the country who have actually experienced things validate what we know to be a fact, and not that. It feels good to have self-edited validation, don't get me wrong, but like it's a real deal, right?
Sure.
Like if you don't have corn, Joe Mac does next door. You know, like what are you gonna do? Not shoot the deer?
Dude, yeah, no, dude. And you can't just like, the thing is, man, like you were kind of, I think the point you're kind of trying to make is like some dude from Michigan or Wisconsin or whatever starts talking about
the brassicas.
Well, no, I'm talking about like starts going, I don't think we should bait, you know what I mean? Well, it's like, well, you haven't been to Texas to hunt. You don't know what it's like, you know?
Yeah.
Go hunt, go hunt in Arkansas and see how easy that is.
Hey, it's okay if you don't want to bait in Michigan. I'm all for that.
But
that's your state. Y'all can do what you want to.
Keep your opinion to your state.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway.
How's that governor doing for you up there?
So the heirloom deal is like, so real quick, I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's so cool. And I'm nerding out on it hard. Probably nobody cares right now. But
Kyle's listening.
The cool thing, Kyle is listening. The cool thing about it is that, like, they've traced some of these things. Have you read any of the like descriptions?
No, I haven't. This is cool. But I've done this with figs and apples a lot.
Yeah,
so I know where you're going.
So they all the like tomatoes. I guess I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure they're originally from like Mediterranean.
Everything good is.
Yeah. So basically, like, for instance, I got a couple of stories about two heirlooms real quick. One of them. It was like there's like these famous heirloom tomato growers, and there's like this whole culture of people that are like royalty, that have like established, like for instance, if there's some prince in Europe or whatever, like there's a good chance he has a garden that he probably never does anything to, and all his workers do or whatever, and they grow like these whack heirloom tomatoes
They
that
do
have
the
been
same
there
thing
for
for
centuries.
apples, except it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
So apples, you have apple tree and apple tree, and they cross pollinate. The chances of that being a good apple is like 1 in 1,000. It's not good. And you've got these gardens in England where they do this thing, and there's guys who dedicate their whole life to like one crop of apples.
Dude.
They cross-pollinate like 60 trees. For their whole life, they grow these 60 trees, and hopefully by the time they're like 50, these trees start producing fruit, and maybe like a couple of them are decent. It's
Crazy,
nuts,
dude.
man.
It is, man. But it's cool. It's intriguing to me because like what'll happen is this seed company will get these seeds for this particular tomato, and it's got its own like name, and everything. And they'll be like, I got these from a friend in Michigan who knows such and such like heirloom dude. They don't say who he is. They just say his name. And apparently all the heirloom freaks know who he is, but it's like Tom Wasson or something, you know what I mean? And it's like from Michigan.
The seventh.
And he got it from a friend of his who runs a kitchen in New York, who apparently got it from France. And it's like, they trace it back
They
to like
do that
France.
with figs, man.
Yeah, it's
These
so
guys
cool.
are like, they like make these contacts in Greece and places like that. Like, yeah, I got my buddy Sergio to send me these cuttings from Greece, and I wanted to try this fig real bad. It's like,
Dude,
it's nuts.
so cool, man. I don't know. I've been really digging on it lately, and I'm gonna definitely because the seats are like $350. It's like, dude, can I plant all these? Like,
You can.
How many several $100 can I spend on this?
How much land do y'all have?
Yeah, plenty for the.
Y'all are gonna have an heirloom tomato garden in
Dude.
Northeast Texas.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I gotta
happening.
find some more shade though. That's for sure.
Yeah, they make shades that you put over tomatoes, but they're like $50 for 200 square foot. So do math on that.
No, sir. Another thing I find interesting is how like all these kind of like northern and western companies in the hunting space right now I've been noticing this, but they keep like being like, congrats to our staff member X who shot a bear and now he's going to turn it into barbecue. It's like, we can't just say congrats to our staff member who shot a bear.
Oh, because they got to put the meat emphasis to make
like
people
every
be
one
like,
of them is like,
bear.
yeah, like they got it. They talk about what they're going to do with it because with bears, like apparently everybody's worried about the image.
Tell you what I would do with a bear is skin it, because that hide is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I never have touched a black bear hide until Sunday. We went to some people's house for a graduation party. And it was, there's Bass Pro 1 and Bass Pro 2 in Rains County. I was at Bass Pro 2. And, dude, black bear hair is the nicest thing. Like, if you could make underwear out of it, I would wear it. It's like, it's thick, but it's soft.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a good texture. Dude,
Yeah.
It is awesome.
So you turn the skin inside out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
Dude, it's crazy. I don't know. I just noticed that the other day. I was like, man, nobody goes, man, I can't wait. I mean, not nobody, but in, the ratio of people going, we're going to turn this deer into, some kind of pastrami or whatever. Like, you don't see that hardly ever. It's like, hey, here's my buck, and I'm holding both its horns.
Yeah.
With a bear, it's like, hey, I want you to make sure there's no trophy involved in this. It was all about the meat.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a weird deal, man.
In fact, we left the hide in the woods just so you know.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I enjoyed this podcast with Chancy, and it's a good welcome break from all the stuff that you mentioned in the beginning to hang out with a couple of dudes and talk hunting. And like you said, man, when you're when you're trying to get your heart to the right place, I think you don't have to worry yourself with how you view things if you've got the correct lens, which for us is the Bible, right? So anyway, my 2 cents at the end.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bookends there.
I want some burn ends right now. I'm starving.
Oh, man. That sounds good. Okay, we got to go.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening. And remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey, everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.